Hello, my friends. This is Kiona. I'm grateful for the gift of technology so that I can connect with you all right now. I am inside a car. Um, Today, I am flying to Colombia, the country where I was born, to be with my family because my grandmother, she died this morning. She went home, as I like to say, to God. I I live in the United States. I've been living here for 22 years. This is also home. So I am leaving home to go home. And I think that's how the journey of life should be, ideally, that we leave home to go home and that it should be a long journey, right? My grandmother was in her 80s. She lived an extraordinary life, super full, super rich. I'm so grateful for her love. We talked often. um, she she made me laugh a lot. She had a lot of wisdom, and I'm so grateful to God for her. And I'm gonna go be with all my feelings and with all my family. Hopefully, when I get to Colombia tomorrow. It takes about a day and a half to get to the region where we're from, so it is a long journey, right? Ideally, life should be a long journey, and today's topic about trust is about how do we trust when that journey of life is not ideal? How do we trust God in when that journey of life gets interrupted by unexpected death, by illness, by accidents, by heartbreak, by breakups, by injustices, by tragedies, by all of the things that are not ideal and not expected? So I'm going to be using my hands to share a little bit of my testimony, a little bit of my life, uh, and and some what I hope is a reflective time for us, wherever we are in our realities, in our inner worlds. And I'm gonna ask Mama Mary to please give me and intercede for me, and give me the words and the way to reach and to hope in God's wisdom to be with us. So, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Thank you, Mama. So, I want to share, first of all, that I grew up Catholic, and I had a great relationship with God, that we traveled together. I remember how I told you that I was going to use my hands. So we traveled together and did, had our ups and downs, kind of like a roller coaster. And then when I was 27 years old, in 2000, September 3rd, 2015, my younger brother, who was 19 at the time, he had severe autism and mental retardation. He was walking around a lake and he fell in and he drowned. And I was alone. I was physically alone, walking with him. I jumped in, but I could not save him. The heartbreak, the destruction, the pain, the damage in me destroyed everything that I believed, that I knew about God, about love, about unconditional love, about mercy, about trust. And so our relationship that was going like this, it went like that. And it brought forth many questions from many people, from myself as well. The main questions were, why did God let that happen to me, and to our family? And where was God? And why would God allow that? And couldn't have God prevented it? I was going to church, I was doing my thing. So what's up with that? Why did that happen? Why did I survive? I had about 20 million questions daily, um and I couldn't quite function in my belief. So I went to a prayer group looking for answers, that a community that I'm part of called Verum Day. And I showed up, and in that prayer group they were preaching about Jesus asking Peter that passage that maybe you have heard before, where Jesus asked, "Do you love me?" He asked that 3 times to Peter, "Do you love me?" And the missionary, the preacher that was speaking at that time, she said, "Well, I invite you to pray with those words, 'Do you love me?'" And I was full of rage, and I looked at the Blessed Sacrament that was exposed, and I said, "How dare you ask me if I love you? Are you oblivious to what happened to me? Do you not get what, like, the pain, he was the love of my life, and he drowned, and you are asking me to love you? I can't." So I got up, livid, angry, and I left. So peace out. On the way to the car, as I was, enraged, by grace, I was able to feel that, the need to call a friend, to reach out, to vent. And she asked me, she held space for me, she listened. I was like, "Can you believe that? Like, I mean, I have all this pain and all this." And then she asked me, "Well, when you love someone, you trust them, right?" And um and I paused, and she said, "Well, can we replace the word love for trust?" And then the question that Jesus is asking is, "Do you trust me? Do you trust that I was there? Do you trust that I am with you? Do you trust that I will be with you?" And as I was listening to that question, I paused, and I started getting flashbacks, of that day, of that moment. And I was physically alone at the lake, but my spirit cannot deny the presence of the same God that was at the cross. The cross was excruciatingly super painful, and God was there on the cross in that pain. And my tragedy was incredibly painful. And the question was, do you trust that I was there? You see, love and suffering are not separate. You can ask that to any woman that has given birth. You can ask that to any child that has lost a pet. You can ask that to anybody that has ever truly loved. Love and suffering are not separate. But what was really life-changing for me about this question, and about the nature of trust and love and suffering, is that God is not the same as us. God is not another creature. God is the creator. And so when I started to digest what this meant for my life, I realized that it's not about journeying with God, it's about being in God. So in English, we say, "I am in love," when we are in love with somebody. And in love is to be, in a way, held completely in love, no matter what happens in here. And what's really powerful about this, and I hope that, and I pray that this can also land in this way for you, is that love resurrected. In a way, love can hold us, because no death, no pain, no injustice, no tragedy, no destruction is big enough for love to hold us and to resurrect life and love in us, so that we can share it with others if we let him. And what's also really beautiful as of right now in my life is also realizing how love is another word for mercy. And the root word of mercy, where the word mercy comes from in Hebrew, is womb or womb, right? Like the womb, that the visceral part of us that creates life in, in woman's bodies, but in human nature, meaning that God, as the creator of life, is mercy, is merciful to hold us when there are no words, when there are no way to move on in life. And in that holding, if we let God do that, hold us, then life and resurrection and love can be transformed and be given to others. So when I couldn't pray with words because the pain was so big, I would punch on pillows, I would scream, I would run, I would cry. And my invitation is, allow all those feelings to happen. Yes, I still have a lot of crying to do and will be doing it with my family because of my grandmother going home. I will miss her. It's part of our human nature to miss others. And to know that we are all going home. And the invitation of trusting today is, yes, you can trust others. You can trust people. You can, break up with people. You can disconnect with people. But when it comes to God, when it comes to the Creator, when it comes to the womb of life and love, may we allow ourselves to be held completely in the midst of pain, in the midst of tragedy, in the midst of breakups, in the midst of destruction, in the midst of whatever it is that we're navigating right now. Maybe it's not as big as a death in the family. Maybe it is something that somebody said and you're wondering, where is God in my life? You're in God all the time. And the most powerful prayer that I can share with you is, Jesus, I trust in you. And if you want to do this symbol with me, this is God, this is us. Jesus, I trust in you. So I have a couple of questions for you. Number one is, this womb that is God, this womb that is safety, this womb that is creator, how does that look like in your life? I like to, one of my favorite forms of praying, actually, I want to confess to you, one of my favorite forms of prayer is to put myself into fetal position, which is putting my knees up to my chest as close as possible and getting really tight and wrapping my whole body into a blanket so that my body remembers again and again that I am God's child, that I am in God's womb, that I am in God. That's my favorite form of prayer. That's what safety and connection and holding and belonging feels like to me, looks like to me. What does it look like for you? What makes you feel safe? What containment do you need? And if you want to pause the video right now, you're welcome to do so and just take a moment to reflect on that question. What does safety look like to you? What does your body need to feel that you are in God's womb, that you can trust God no matter what happens or what kind of destructions go on or pain go on in your life? Question number two is, who are the people that you can trust, that you can open up your heart? Because I've been blessed in my life with community, with people, with faith, with others, and they reflect an aspect of God that allows me to open up and to cry and to scream and to share my feelings. What qualities do they have, those people in your life? Maybe it's one person, maybe it's mom or somebody in your life, a cousin, a coworker, maybe it's your own child or somebody that if you're an adult watching this, what quality do they have that reflects and gives you that trust? I want you to think about that one. And then I have a third question for you. The third question is, in a world that needs all of us to trust in God and to abandon our lives in Him who is womb and life and love and mercy. What are some ways that you in your world can share that, if that feels shareable to you? Maybe you're not in a place of sharing, but if you have a friend or a buddy or somebody that is asking, where is God in the midst of all this pandemic and in the midst of all these deaths and in the midst of all of this, how could you share that we are in God? And because we are in God, we can have trustful journeys. Some of us get called home sooner than others, and some of us have more tragedies than others. But remember that God is love, is life, is womb, is connection, and is always and always with us. Thank you so much. I hope to see you next weekend, and I hope to connect again in whatever form we can. Blessings.